interest amongst the council members? If not, as we go through, if you stumble on something, you certainly raise your hand and declare it at that time. We'll move to our CAO to give opening remarks and then go on from there.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. Welcome and good morning, everybody. Administration is pleased to present the 2018 budget to you this morning. While setting a budget is seen by many as a difficult task and not very enjoyable, that is really not the case in Leamington. In Leamington administration, and in particular senior administration, we enjoy the challenge of bringing council's directions and vision to life. And I'm going to take this moment right now to recognize both Ginny and Katie, who were also very instrumental in pulling this budget together. And they're sitting at the back in case we get stumped on any of your questions. But because it is the budget that is the evidence of commitment to spoken words, it's very important that we review it closely. Because it's our plan. Without a plan and without resources, both human and financial, a plan is just simply a wish. And if wishes were fishes, the ocean would be full. I've heard that before. I think that's a song, actually. Senior administration sees the budget process as a challenge to put the puzzle together, as council has directed, bearing in mind the effects on the taxpayer, balanced against the best interest of the municipality as a whole. We take this very seriously. In this budget, we continue to focus on infrastructure and quality of life issues, with one eye on the present and one eye on the future. Over the last 3 years, this council has made some courageous decisions, and those decisions are paying off. This is the last budget of this term, and like the three before it, administration is confident that this budget reflects the philosophies and priorities of council, and we look forward to implementing this budget upon approval to keep this municipality moving into the future both strong and proud. And we are prepared to provide this budget to you now.
Thank you very much. And I think on behalf of council, we can offer our congratulations and thanks to Finance Department and all the staff, directors and departments for doing their job at bringing forward what appears to be a very, very good budget. So we'll see by the end of the, Anyway, we'll move right on into the grant requests, and these are 5-minute presentations max for everybody. We'll do our best to be lenient where we need to be. But we've got a number of them to go through, so we'll start off with 535 Squadron, Royal Canadian Air Cadets. So we have microphones, comfortable chairs. Please have a seat. You get to introduce yourself, and you need to do the microphone in front of you. You need to hit. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. I'm here representing the 535 Leamington Air Cadet Squadron. I'm here in representation of Captain Stevenson, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. So with his regrets, he would have liked to have been here. I've been with the 535 Air Cadet Squadron for the last 3 years as a sponsorship committee. But previous to that, I was a cadet myself. So I'm a retired cadet from 364 in Windsor. So there's a place in my heart. So today, the presentation I'm going to give you is hopefully not unfamiliar to you what the 535 Leamington Air Cadet Squadron, which is here based in Leamington, can do for our youth, but what we're also asking for. So if you're not familiar with the league is represents or supports youth from 12 to 18, immersing them into a military culture that promotes discipline, honor, and loyalty. And it does that by using the air element as one of the groups. There is air, sea, and army. We only have an air cadet squadron here in Leamington, which has been here for the last 53 years. Currently, what we are doing right now is we have almost 50 cadets now, and we're growing the squadron. We've doubled the size in the last 2 years. So with that new number of cadets that we have now, we're having to expand our curriculum to include flying. And there isn't an airport in Leamington, so we travel to Windsor on a regular basis, and flying is very expensive. So what we've actually come up with was just a proposal for an air simulator, which would make us the first Air Cadet squadron in all of Canada that has an in-house air simulator, so that we can actually start to do training in-house. The project is a $5,000 ask, but we're only asking council for $3,200, and we'll support the other $1,800. The $3,200 will go for hardware, computers, software, and any infrastructure for the simulator, and any improvements to the building we will pay for ourselves. To give you an idea of what the Air Cadet Squadron can do, myself being a retired Air Cadet, it really does build the foundation for youth to be very productive citizens. I look back now at all the things that I've been able to accomplish over the years, and the Air Cadet Squadron really gave me those roots to be able to move forward with that. Today, I'm the Canadian Association Mold Makers Chair, the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Vice Chair, and I sit on various committees. And I attribute all that to what I learned at Air Cadets from the age of 12 to 18. So I look to hopefully have that same success with all the cadets that we have here going forward. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any of those questions now.
Okay. Questions from council at all? Just quick comments to you is that I've had the privilege of being invited to be the, I forget what the title is, to inspect the troops and participate in the whole viewing process. And I have witnessed the growth of the group here in Leamington, which is good to see. When I read your application, though, I didn't understand it to be an application for a simulator. Did anybody else?
I think what it was is I think what they originally were looking for was for sports
To offset,
funding.
yeah.
Yes, and then the league came back and said that they're willing to support the sports side of it because it's part of the D&D. We are partially funded by the D&D, so they're willing to actually fund that portion of our budget. So we said, well, okay, if you're going to fund that portion of our budget, we would ask Leamington Council for the simulator, which we were going to have to fund ourselves because the D&D won't fund local-based curriculum for squadrons.
Okay, okay.
So that's the change.
Oh, Councillor Dunn.
Through you, Your Worship, you mentioned 3,200, but on the request, it's 2,600.
Is there discrepancy there?
There's discrepancy.
Okay, so I can make those changes. Should I make those changes prior to, or should I make those?
Well, we'll just make note of it. So that your ask is really
3,200.
30, okay. Very good. Okay. If there are no other questions,
Thank you.
then I thank you for your time.
Thank you, John.
Thanks. Next up is the annual charity volleyball tournament. Okay, Repco.
Good morning, Your Worship, Mayor Patterson, Council. My name is Karen Rupko, and I'm here representing the annual charity volleyball tournament, which is held here in Leamington every February. This is our 7th tournament. To date, we have raised over $27,000, which has stayed in the Leamington-Kingsville communities. The request for our grant is for $906.26, which covers the cost precisely of the shirk rental for the day, including insurance. So some of the past organizations we've sponsored have been the Salvation Army, Food Bank, Spectra, Access, the War Amps, Southwestern Ontario Gleaners, and Friends of Point Pelee. And every year we continue to gather food items as well for the food bank. So
Okay.
it's pretty basic. It's a one-day event. There's 5 of us that work together and organize. We use the local schools as well as a shirk. This year we're a little short on schools because Leamington High is not available for rent the first year. So our attendance will be down just basically because of school availability and gyms. But so we're looking for 28 teams this year. And hopefully we'll, this year's charity is the South Essex Community Council, SECC, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. So,
Yep.
Any questions?
Very good. Councillor Jacobs.
Thank you, Worship. This would be an in-kind, I presume, with this, right? Okay, thank you.
No other questions? Mr. Neufeld?
Sorry, just for clarification, we bring the money over into the complex budget, so the revenue is recognized, but essentially it turns out to be a wash. That's
No more questions? We're good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
you.
I guess I should have mentioned that we won't be making decisions right now on all these presentations, so you're not obligated to sit through the entire day of listening to everybody present. So you won't offend us if you take off. It's not a big deal. We just needed to hear your presentation, and I think we usually debate this at the end of the budget when we know where we stand. So BIA Beautification Initiative. Ms. Balerjean?
Good morning. As you know, the Uptown is under an extensive revitalization project and planning stages, and the BIA is seeking to obtain funds that we can utilize to purchase a variety of things to Uptown to help beautify and improve the cleanliness of the Uptown core. So the first item that we have looked into is the replacement of the current benches that are uptown. We have sought to replace approximately 12 benches throughout the uptown core, and there's just some samples of products that are available to us. There's a multitude of different items available, but these were just some of the ones that we liked. They range approximately $1,300 to $3,000 each. And the second item, when we did our community cleanup, we noticed that unfortunately there were a lot of cigarette butts throughout the uptown core. And so we were looking to place some smoker butt receptacles in the more heavily trafficked zones. Those are around approximately $495 each, and we're looking to do approximately 4. And then the last item is, unfortunately, our current receptacles seem to promote the idea that large bags can be placed in them, which is not true. But we are looking to do what you can see in the bottom, left-hand corner, a closed-top system so that just cups and just small items that are typically seen in the uptown core are placed in them as opposed to the bags. And those run approximately $1,200 to $1,500 each, and they also promote recycling and environmentally friendly practices. The last thing is we are looking to work with property owners who have vacant storefronts and don't maintain them, unfortunately, and look to either partner with the local arts community or do a vision of what could be in this building, should you choose to open a business here. And they would be a temporary decal that could be placed there to cover up the interiors that currently exist. And then once the building is leased out and revitalized, then that temporary covering would come down. And so the total grant that we have applied for is $25,000, and we will be seeking funds in our budget to help match this so that we can get the biggest bang for our buck.
Okay. Any questions from council? Councillor Hammond?
Your Worship, good morning, and good morning, and thank you. With respect to, and Lisa, you know, we've talked about garbage uptown, as you know, at length, and it just jumped out at me that if we do put the new garbage containers uptown, then the town would eliminate the ones that are currently there? Is that your thought?
Well, I mean, this proposal only has for 4 receptacles because they're so expensive. If we could, then that is definitely an option, but I don't think that we would be able to exclusively remove all of them.
Yeah.
Just kind of a work in progress.
Okay, thank you.
Just the problem areas, I guess, is more so.
Yeah, and we know what happens, though. I mean, when you put a smaller container, or the ones that are currently there get full, they put it on the sidewalks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we understand the problem.
Councillor Wilkinson?
Thank you, Your Worship. Somewhere in our budget here, I know we read about replacing benches uptown was mentioned in this budget. I'm just wondering, was any consideration given to this proposal ahead of time with the information that's in here?
Mr. Sharon? No?
Do we have an idea what was planned for the benches then at that point? Like, is it similar to what we're seeing on this screen?
With regards to, through you, Mayor Patterson, with regards to furnishing and fixtures, we haven't got to that point in the process. You know, certainly we're still looking at the big picture design things, the road right-of-ways, the parking, the flow of traffic, the type of land use designation and zoning we want to see in the uptown. But getting to those final finishes is one of the last things we do in that process. So in the meantime, you know, what we have, it's anticipated that we were just going to use what we have until we identified, you know, what the look, and council approved what the general look of the uptown would be going forward.
Councillor Dunn?
Through you, Your Worship. Lisa, you said you added in your budget as well, and I see it at $20,000, add green space to parkettes. So how does this add to the vision with what you're asking for here?
So the shot and parquet area, as well as the old VI, I don't know what that is titled, those green spaces there, ideally, once the concept is drawn up and finalized through Mr. Spencer's office, we could help facilitate the beautification of those areas as well once it's done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next presentation is the LDSS Green Learning Courtyard.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Jess Panalis, and these are my fellow students at LDSS, Rachel Humphreys, Layla Baca, and Eddie Neufeld. We are here today to propose our idea of outdoor seating plans at the new LDSS, which will not only benefit the students, but the community as well. In the second slide, it's a picture of the old LD with the outdoor seating arrangements. Here, this is where the students would come and sit at lunch and have a good time. And Mr. Gallagher was one of the teachers that passed away 2 years ago, and he used the wood from the Seacliff Park fences that were destroyed, and he used this and he used this to construct all these tables, and now they're very well used and very well loved, and I believe that it's a great idea to have a new seating arrangement for the new LDSS.
Now we are at our new school, which we are extremely grateful for, but unfortunately there's no place to gather outside. So as you can see in the photo, we have a quite large and spacious courtyard, which is filled with trees. So in that photo, there are about 8 or 9 trees that were donated by the Robinson family, who were former owners of the property. And we are going to plant trees that the school's eco team has saved money that we have won from different types of awards. So example, one of the awards we won was the National Watershed Champion Award, which we saved to purchase trees that would attract pollinators, for example, redbud, serviceberry, or dogwood. And so that will fill up the courtyard more and take up more ground space, but we currently don't have any place for the students and community to gather.
And so our proposal would be for a grant to afford new seating for the outside courtyard. And if, as you see on the next slide, the tables there, like they're Canadian-made tables. They're durable, heavy, weatherproof, And so we'd use spaces like this to have classes go outside or to host community events and things like that. And we would be asking for maybe as much as $8,000 to afford as many as 8 tables for the outside area.
With the new seating in the courtyard, we'd be able to accommodate up to 2 classrooms that can use it as an outdoor learning area, as well as students will be able to eat lunch outside there. And extending beyond just our school and going out towards the community, we will be able to host athletic events for local elementary schools where they can gather outside. In addition, during the summertime, there's a YMCA day camp that's ran at LD. They'd be able to utilize that area for any events they want to host. And eventually, in the near future, we hope to extend our courtyard beyond and be able to host dances and community events. So that is all we have to propose for our new school. Thank you guys for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions, Councillor Hammond?
Your worship, thank you. And good morning to you. Forgive me, because I haven't had a tour of the new school. Do you have machine shops and carpenter shops in the new school?
Yes, we do.
Do. Had the thought been proposed to the carpenter shop about building you some benches? You'd already touched on the fact that that's how some of the other ones got there in the old school.
With the old school, the wood that we used was from the 2010 tornado, so it was the fences that were broken down, and we used that wood to make it. What's going on currently with our construction shop, like they have like different projects going on, and I'm not sure if they would have in the budget for them to build new seating. With these here that we are proposing, they're more durable, they'll be able to last longer, and they're like just better quality and better condition for our school. And yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Councillor Jacobs?
Thank you, Worship. You're mentioning the planting of trees and so forth.
Yeah.
You were going to be purchasing these. Have you been in touch with IRCA, like the Essex Region Conservation Authority, at all?
Yeah, we have it. Yep.
Would they be supporting you in this type of a program?
For the trees?
Yes,
For
Yeah.
the planting of the trees or for the benches?
the trees, actually. Yeah.
What we have earned for the trees is from other grants where we have applied and we like promised to to plant trees for it. We partner with IRCA for many projects. I'm not entirely sure if we're partnered with them for planting with the trees, but that is something that we kind of host within Eco Team. So, yeah.
So in regard to IRCA, they have a tree planting program every fall or spring and fall, and they're bare root trees that you can get. So they come in bunches. If I buy them all the time. So. And they're relatively inexpensive that way as well. And you never know, IRCA may... Who are the reps on IRCA right now? Larry and you? Okay. Always possible that these guys could help you out in that regard too. You never know what IRCA would do, but just a suggestion. Any other questions at all? No? Thank you very much. Okay. Next group up is the Leamington District Half Century Club, 2 submissions. So,
Good morning, Mayor Patterson and Town Council. I am Christine Lane. I'm the administrator at the Half Century Center. Like you say, there is 2 submissions. We are partly funded by the province of Ontario, but one stipulation from them is the town supports us as well. What we do is we are a place to keep seniors both socially active and physically active. It's very important for them. That's their social networking. It does help keep them healthier, and about 80% of our newest members in the past 2 years have been people that have retired to Leamington from the GTA, some as far away as BC. And they say they know nobody in town. They come, and now they're an intricate part of our community, both at the center and throughout the town. They do volunteer other places as well. We do have a membership fee, but we have to keep it minimal because, again, most of our all of our members are retired. They're on fixed incomes. Last year, we had 2,800 plus hours of volunteer hours to help keep the center going. So I do request the 24,000 as part of our regular funding. We also do various fundraisers to help keep the costs down and cover the rest of the bills. However, it is an older building. Last year, we were able to come up with a $12,000 income at the end of our year, at the end of March. And in April, we spent $24,000 on a new roof that was leaking, and that's only a third of the roof. So we are fundraising for these major expenses that we are incurring. The most critical one, in my view, is the parking lot. It is uneven, it is cracking, it's a safety issue for our seniors. I have put in a request to Trillium to repave the parking lot, and that cost is going to be over $80,000. I have been told quite blank from them, they don't do parking lots. They're not glamorous. But to me, it's a safety issue. So I have told them that what we can do in our parking lot, because our baby boomers are retiring, we need more room in our gym for activities, so we can move things like pickleball and dances and luncheons outside in the good weather. And so our parking lot can be an extension of the building, because once the baby boomers are no longer around, it's going to be a smaller group again. We won't need an addition, which would be another way of having this extra room. So I do hope that they come through with this money for our parking lot, but if not, we need to find other ways of funding this. We do have possibly some donations from other foundations, but it would be my request to ask for $20,000 if we don't get the Trillium to put towards our new parking lot. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you very much. Questions from council? I think we're all familiar with the first grant because we do that every year, like you say. It's just part of
It's the other one.
the teamwork, right? So that you can get your grant money to carry on. So the parking lot is a new request. Councillor Dunn?
Through your worship, I just want to say that some of the events I've been to are phenomenal that you do over there, and you're doing a great job of getting people out and raising money, so kudos on you for that.
Thank you.
Councillor Wilkinson?
Thank you, Mayor. When would you find out from Trillium whether or not you're successful getting that grant money?
Towards the end of February, the beginning of March.
End of February, beginning of March. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Hammond?
I think my thoughts were the same as Councillor Wilkinson, that Christine, and good morning. You had said that if you get the grant, you're not going to need the $20,000.
Correct.
Okay.
We do have a request from our kitchen staff to update our kitchen, but that's not a priority. Our priority is the parking lot. So if we get Trillium, we do not need the extra at this time.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Next up is the Leamington District Chamber of Commerce. Oh, you made it. Okay, good. Thought you might be a little bit late this morning, so.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor Patterson, Peter, and councillors, and Brenda. So we believe at the Chamber we have much to offer. We have a wide range of different things that we do, from our guest speakers on different events such as Bill 148, taxes, all the way to the little tourist booth. Up until the end of August, or the end of September, we had 1,852 visitors at the tomato booth. Believe it or not, people still stop, and not only to take their picture, but to find out points of interest. We have a new boat coming in the new year, and we hope to take advantage of the boat as well to see if we can get the members of our town on just familiar with it. We also did the Canada Day Parade this year and the Christmas Parade. At this time, we're unsure if we're going to do the Canada Day Parade next year. We're just kind of waiting on everybody's feedback on that. We also did the grant. I don't know if you want to talk about the grant, Dave.
I did talk a lot about the grant at the last council meeting, but just to let you know that it's because of what the chamber has done so far to get that grant on the Agricultural College of Excellence. And we sat down with our group after the council meeting, and definitely we're moving on. And we'll be starting another grant application to Trillium, so we can get our, and before that, our pilot project. So I really think the chamber has done a great job pushing, advertising the town, and Councillor Jacobs' comment about we have to let people know that Ontario doesn't stop at London. It comes all the way down here from the last meeting, and we're prepared to do that.
Any questions?
Okay, questions from council? None? Tourism, the tomato booth.
Yes.
I have had the wonderful experience of sitting on the board for TWEPI the last couple of years. And they're constantly bringing forward reports on these different tourism booths or tourism centers on who the visitor or how many visitors are coming to each and every one of them. And I know they do it because they're funding them to some level. And I, every meeting, ask, when does Leamington get a piece of this pie? And they keep saying, well, it's just because it's a seasonal operation. So when you were just speaking, I'm thinking, well, okay, once the booth is closed, are you not offering those same tourism
At our
advice at the office? So therefore, it becomes a full year operation, which is an argument I will maybe take back and see if we can't get some funding coming from TWEPI instead of going everywhere else but here. Anyway, I compliment you on the other grant proposal, the employment opportunities, all that kind of stuff, the Greenhouse Center of Excellence. I think that was really great. And Deputy Mayor McDonald and I certainly enjoyed the luncheon the other day. I can't make those very often, but this one seemed really good, and it was really well attended. Happy to see the chamber growing and being as healthy as it is, so I congratulate you on that. Anyway, I just wanted to touch base on the tourism end of things, just to make sure it's in my head correctly, and I'll have to mention that. So,
Okay.
if there are no other questions, then we'll simply move on. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next presentation is from Leamington District Secondary School Parent Council. Ms. Wagle.
Good morning, Mayor Patterson, Deputy Mayor McDonald, members of council, and Mr. Neufeld. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I am the chair of the Parent Council at Leamington District Secondary School, and I'm here to represent a dedicated group of parents. It is our strong belief that through collaboration between families, school, and community, we are able to create the best environment for students to achieve personal success in academics, community involvement, and post-secondary pursuits. Recently, we made application to the Municipality of Leamington for a grant in the amount of $4,000. If we are awarded this grant, LDSS Parent Council, along with the Municipality of Leamington, would be collaboratively assisting 8 students in their post-secondary endeavors by awarding them a $500 bursary to assist with the rising cost of tuition. While students receive funding from the Ministry of Education during the time they are in high school, post-secondary schooling comes at the student's own expense. The rising cost of education often puts a strain on a student's ability to pay. Most students complete their post-secondary education with large amounts of debt. This bursary would in some way ease the burden of these educational expenses. The parents of LDSS Parent Council feel that this application carries the same sentiment as the municipality in respect to retaining young adults in the area as outlined in the municipal strategic plan. We feel that by investing in their education, you are also investing in the future of our community. We are asking the municipality to partner with Leamington District Secondary School to assist in providing funding to students so they are able to achieve the needed skills we require in our community. We all would like to see these young people come back to live, work, and play. These young adults in our community will play a key role in Leamington's prosperity. A bursary will help to engage young people and encourage completing post-secondary education. This is a positive step in working towards retaining young people in our community. Many of the young adults who may be applying for these bursaries are currently employed by the municipality or have immediate family members who actually are employed by the municipality. In our research, we found that neighboring communities have shared this same vision and have invested in the young adults of their community. It is our hope that Leamington will consider the positive impact of doing the same. We ask that you give consideration to this request, not only for the monetary value, but to extend the goodwill of the municipality in investing in young adults and showing them that Leamington is the best place to live, work, and play.
Thank you very much. Questions from council? Deepa, if I could, you mentioned other municipalities
Yes.
have done this.
Yes.
Can you tell me who? Do you know offhand, or?
I do.
Okay.
And that wasn't put in there to just say, we just did our research, because we didn't know if we should be asking for something in this respect, and in doing that, we found that for sure the town of Kingsville does partner with Kingsville District Secondary School in providing bursaries to their students every year.
And that's out of the 7 municipalities, they're the only ones?
That was
do
the one that we found, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. And do they do it about $4,000 or
I believe that they do 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah. We asked for 4 just simply because our primary fundraising now, with the new school being complete, which is a great school, it's a great facility, I'm sure everyone's been through, is that we are focusing right now on getting the track completed in the outdoor facility to match what the school facility is like. We want to have, a state-of-the-art outdoor facility as well. So we are focusing our fundraising efforts on that, and we didn't want to put too much strain on our school community to come up with any additional funding.
So I've attended the graduation ceremonies on many occasions,
Yes.
and there are a lot of bursaries being given.
Yeah.
Are they lessening, or do you just think you just need to expand that?
Well, I think in part we would like to expand it just simply because tuition costs are rising. A mother of a son who is in university right now, everyone laughs at me at work and says, just, sign the check over to the University of Toronto, because that's just the way it goes. Every day you're reading in the paper how tuition costs are rising, living expenses are rising, and I think that anything that we can do in part to help students is important.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, Councillor Verbicki?
Or the Mayor, do we or do we not give at least one $500 bursary?
I'm not aware of it, so. Okay. Okay. Councillor Dunn?
Through your worship, is this a one-time grant you're looking for, or something to be an ongoing thing?
Be ongoing.
Well, I'm looking at it as a one-time grant that we're asking for. Parent council chairs who come after me, I'm not sure what they may see in their future, but as of right now, this is not something that we looked on applying for on a regular basis.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next group is the Leamington Horticultural Society. Actually, well, let's do them separately. So we'll.
Good morning, Mayor Patterson, members of council, and town representatives. I guess I'm a stranger to talking about the Horticultural Society. It seems like an annual event for me. Our request for our grant is to continue our role in beautifying Leamington. We've been doing it for over 75 years, and we wish to continue. I'd like to begin by stating that the Horticultural Society has had an excellent working relationship with the town of Leamington, and I'd like to give special thanks to Corey Gabriel and Sarah Stevenson for working with us and helping us with jobs that we are finding ourselves unable to do. Together, we've met already and we've planned the activities that we hope to do in 2018. Together, we'll be planting 91 street pots, the flower beds at the east entrance, flower beds in the downtown area, and also we've adopted Mercia Park as a project. We also help out at the hospice garden. So there's a lot of activities for the Horticultural Society. We met back in late November, and we can announce our plans for this year. The color scheme is going to be orange and purple, and it's quite dramatic. We've gone through plant catalogs and picked out some materials. The flower, or I should say plant of the year, will be the Purple Heart Vine. It doesn't trail much, but it's a brilliant purple color, large leaves. And in the pots, we're going to feature what is called the Dwarf Tropical Gold Canna Lily. It's a very remarkable display of color. Cannas work excellent plant in the pots. They can take all the water that the town can give us every couple of days, and they take fertilizer, so they're a good choice. And I think we did a reasonably good job last year in the street pots. We plan to keep planting trees at Mercia Park. Over the last 10 years, we've planted somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 trees. We will continue as a society, Horticultural Society, to present informative and dynamic speakers at our regular monthly meetings. We also will continue to provide a scholarship of $500 each year to a student who is going on to study horticulture in the future. So we have a roadmap of what we would like to do in the coming year, and our grant request is just to cover the cost of planting materials that we will use in the town pots and gardens.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions? Councillor Wilkinson?
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't have the information in front of me, the information packet that would have came with this, but I'm just wondering, is there any other revenue you get besides this grant yearly?
Yes. We hold a plant sale each year, usually the first Saturday of May. And last year through, I should start by saying the plant sale is where members donate plants, potted up plants out of the garden. We've been doing it for, well, Sir John A. was peeing on one of the plants one time, but you know. Anyways, that and a variety of other things, we were able to raise a little over $1,100 last year. But it's a club effort. Everybody contributes something, and we have a good time and we get to meet people. We also get a grant from the province or from the Ontario Horticultural Association of $1,000, which goes towards operating the society. So out of that grant, we pay for speakers at the society. We pay some expenses, things like photocopying and paper and expenses of having a society.
And one last question, is there any in-kind given to you when it comes to your materials, whether it be flowers, plants?
Quite often, we have a very good relationship with some of the local nursery gardens, and quite often we get plants. Let's say we buy 25 flats, but they load 30 onto the truck. The person that supplies the canna lilies does it at cost. But this year coming, they're going to be $850 a piece, times 91. So, so our grant is essentially to get plant materials, buy the trees, things like that.
Councillor Hammond.
Thank you, Your Worship. Pete, I think you were modest when you said you thought you did a pretty good job last year. I think that I speak for all of us, if I can, that I think you did a tremendous job, and I think your award indicates that. And so congratulations to you and the rest of your committee for a great job.
Oh, thank you. It's fun doing this, so.
Very good. No more questions from everyone? So I thank you for that presentation. Are you staying for the second one as well? Or is that another half of your group? This Communities in Bloom is up next, so
Okay.
I'm assuming you're on that too.
Okay, I'll start by beginning our application for the CIB grant is the Leamington Hort Society Community in Blooms Committee is planning to enter the 2018 national competition. Last year, in 2017, we were that close, 3.8 percentages away from getting Gold 5 Blooms Award. We were closer to being the best overall community of our size. And so we feel we can do a much better job with some outside help, and we hope to be the best blooming community in Canada next year. So what I would like to do to show what we do, I'd like to introduce my committee members, and we have a presentation for the town. I'd like to ask Charlie Wright and the committee to come forward and make the presentations.
Mayor Patterson, Deputy Mayor McDonald, and Council. I gave out one of these evaluation. This is the type of evaluation report we get from Communities in Bloom. We're evaluated on 6 different categories as you go through the report. It's landscaping, floral displays, history, forestry, tidiness, environmental action. And as you go through the report, they have an evaluation matrix there on how many, like 175 points, and then a summary of each one. So I'll leave that to your judgment. This is kind of like a report card. And then the top cover is actually the certificate we received. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Grand Canadian Championship. We missed it by 0.3%. So 0.03% that we missed it out on. So we're, as a judge said, we are as close as you can get without getting it. Nice as I'd rather get it. But we're looking forward to next year. My other co-chair, Catherine Rediger, would like to present to you, Mayor Patterson, our frame certificate and the profile book. That once again, could we possibly get a picture of Mayor Patterson?
Yep. I have a quick question. Since I had a bet against the mayor of Amherstburg, how did they fare in comparison to Leamington? How did you beat them? You're about the same?
They didn't, unfortunately, they did not give us what the other
Oh, okay.
contestants did. They just looked at the Port Colborne who won it, where we were in relationship to them.
Okay.
And then so I understand where you're coming from,
Well, I can tell you, he hasn't asked me to wear any special shirt or anything like that.
I think
so
we did very well.
You may have defeated them for all I know.
I think they kept pretty quiet after the award ceremony. And
Peter?
Maybe you don't want to know this, but they already have a sign out on their entrance to the town that they're the winners of the 5 Bloom Award, national winners of the 5 Bloom Award.
From 2017, though? Or 2016?
For 2017.
Really? So I may have to send him a dozen roses. That's what I said. I'd said.
no, we won. We could do the very same thing. We won 5 blooms for 2017 too.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you have the awards is if you have 5 blooms, you get 82.5%, and then for 83 to 85, you get a bronze, and then the gold and the silver, and so we got bronze. So we're above the 5 bloom actually.
Okay. Well, I may have to claim. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Okay. Appreciate it. Next group up is the Leamington Triathlon. What's that? Yeah, pretty much. Athletes.
I get that a lot, how slow I look on the road, but anytime you want to join up.
No.
7 o'clock at Circle K, we're ready to go.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm glad to be here today on behalf of the Leamington Triathlon Weekend. I think we're getting close to, the kids one is over 32 years old, and I think the adult one is, I've been retired about 14 years, was working on it before, so the adult one is getting close to 20, and we're here to support Leamington again, asking for the in-kind services on the request form. I'll take any questions.
Any questions? Councillor Verbeke?
The Mayor, seeing on our 4.11, there was nothing approved last year, so and it doesn't say under comments that it's a new request. Is that an oversight?
Ms. Roach?
Through you, Mayor Patterson, if you recall, Council approved in year the sponsorship for the Leamington Triathlon as part of the 2018 budget. And actually in that discussion, we talked about bringing it as part of the grant request annually going forward. So just to reconcile to what was approved in the 2017 budget, it was not included as part of the grant, but it was as part of our in-year approval.
No other questions? Thank you very much.
Okay.
No one? Okay. Then we'll move on to the Little Tomato Children's Theater. Rian. Migrant Worker Community Program.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Council, and town officials. I'm Bruce Peacock from the Migrant Workers Community Council. Last year, you encouraged us to help tourism in the area, as well as integrate migrant workers. I believe that we have worked towards that in several situations. Last year, or this year, I should say, we worked with the Mexican consulate and put on the Mexican International baseball game. It was well received by the public and well attended. It also got large media coverage through Windsor and Toronto. They know we're here. And this was done through the help of local business and greenhouse growers. Otherwise, we would not have been able to put this on. So we have worked towards some of the things that you have asked for. We also have put on, as with the Mexican consulate and two other governments, Guatemala and Honduras, the Festival Patriots, which has been a great success. We've gone up 150, and I see it growing larger. Last year I suggested go to Leamington, go to Latin. I have been after this for a long time. Unfortunately or fortunately, people in Windsor have picked it up, and they have a festival, a Latin festival, which is doing well. I think it should have been here, because we have all the fixings for salsa. What could you ask for? And we have the people. I think that it would have been a great event for here. We also have put on health fairs. The health and information fairs, which give information to not just migrant workers, but we are now getting people who are moving into the area and seniors who are looking for information on doctors and hearing aids and first aid, all the different varieties of things. So we're getting more public involvement. We also have, and still are, very active in baseball, basketball, and now we've got into dominoes, which helps keep these Mexican and all the rest of the workers, and we deal with 9 different countries, helps keep them off the street, which you asked for, I believe. It gives them a place to go and something to do. So we are doing our due diligence, and we are putting things across to help you and change downtown slightly. The more we carry on, the more we will be able to do more of this. We have set forth English classes now for 2 years, or pardon me, Spanish classes for 2 years, and this fall, because of the greenhouse growers and the migrant workers, we have been asked and are starting to put on English courses. These people want to be part of the community. If they learn English, the more they will be part of this community, the more that they will take part in things and be able to go into stores, be able to deal with people and talk English to them and make things much more suitable. You have 2 councils, or 2 committees, pardon me, in this area, one being multicultural and the other, the development of downtown. I'm very saddened to say that we have never been asked to be part of these. We are people who deal with these people, and I think it's very shameful that we are not part of this. We should be. We can help you. We understand these people. We work with these people, and we're willing to work with you. We get the migrant workers involved and off the street. We have gone out and gotten financing for these different events from local business and greenhouse growers. It's growing. We now have a gentleman who is working on more stable financing for us, and we'll see how that goes in the future, but also my staff are looking for grants. We have just been able to do that in the past several months, but we are working more towards it. I ask you to still maintain our outlook and our financing, and I've looked at what we have, and I say that there's a discrepancy in what we asked for. I'm asking for $8,000, not 10. And I ask you to consider that, to help us put on these programs and to help work with you to solve your problems, to solve the migrant worker problems, and make them part of this community and grow, which they will do. You have brought more greenhouses in, which means there's more greenhouses and workers. We have to work twice as hard, and that costs us. I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions? Councillor Dunn?
Through your worship. Bruce, with Lily, do you have any statistics on the translation? I know they're being on the committee that She does a lot of translations for a lot of the migrant workers, as well as the volunteers that do. How many volunteers did you have come out to help all the different games and everything else?
We have a total of about 20 volunteers throughout Essex County. And because some of the migrant workers end up in Windsor Hospital, we have translators, interpreters actually, that go out and to the hospitals, to the doctors, to the lawyers, to the accountants. It is a very, very big part of our time. We now have a second program assistant who also is very, very fluent in Espanol, and she is also going out and assisting these people. And as I say, the English program is a great great bonus for us, and I might say too that the English and the Spanish programs are self-sufficient. We are working and trying to be more self-sufficient in the various ways that we can.
Further? With these new English classes, they were something that the migrant workers asked to be put on by the Migrant Worker Committee, right?
Yes, it actually started through one of the greenhouses. Their workers went to them and said, we would like to learn English, and we provided an instructor, and now we have a second greenhouse that has asked for it. We have a class going to start up, which 2 classes are filled up for February and March already. We are shut down for Christmas and part of January because of financing and trying to save money.
And again, this is, like you said, they filled up really fast, and there's plans on having more English classes as well in other locations. So you have 2 separate locations. You were talking, wasn't it?
We have the greenhouse growers themselves provide us with locations. And as I say, now we have 2 greenhouse growers that have asked us in and provided us with location. Plus, we have a classroom where we instruct in English.
But there wasn't St. Michael's as well. You were talking about an English class there.
Yes.
Okay, and then the demand is there for more.
The demand is there. As I say, these migrant people wish to be fluent in English and be able to converse with us. It makes things so much easier when they can converse with us. Their population being, in particular Spanish, around 3,700, as opposed to how many we have in the area. It does make it a little easier, and it makes it easier going into stores and going and buying and purchase, which they do quite a bit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Wilkinson?
Thank you, Mayor, but I think my question was answered. I was going to ask you, I heard the comment when you were talking about dominoes, that the workers are coming in-house somewhere, a facility to do these games?
Yeah, this year it was an actual domino tournament, which we assisted in, and we're looking at expanding on that. Different cultures have different things. I mean, the basketball and baseball and dominoes the people are interested. The baseball, as you've seen, unfortunately, Kingsville won the Mexican game, but the baseball in general, we are getting more teams from throughout the county asking to be part of the regular games we have.
I was just curious where you're holding these events at, which facilities or halls you're going to.
Right now, there's one of the farms that will be holding the dominoes.
Right. No, I think that's fantastic. Keep on providing activities to the migrant workers. I think that is an alternative for them, yes. Hanging out in our uptown streets. So I like what you're doing here. You're showing progress versus years past. So congratulations.
Thank you. And I would like to say, if any way is possible, if there's any possible way of getting them a location, it would be gangbusters. A building that is not in use with Wi-Fi so that they can go there and use Wi-Fi, because why you see them out in the street is they're talking to their families back in Mexico on Wi-Fi through the internet. That's the main problem with downtown.
Those efforts are underway through the private sector. So we're waiting for some positive news on that. So we'll see what happens from there.
Please keep us informed.
Okay.
And I say our door is open. Please work with us.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No more questions from council? We're good, thanks. So we'll move on next to Point Pelee National Park Advisory Committee.
Mayor, members of council, administrators, thank you very much for inviting us to apply for this grant and for inviting us to come here and speak to it. My name's Dora Charash, and with me is Sheila Wisdom. Everybody knows Sheila, with the Windsor Symphony. I'm here representing the Point Pelee National Park Advisory Committee. We are a group of up to 20, currently about 17 members, who represent all of Windsor and Essex County and parts of Chatham, Kent as well. And we advise administration on the management of the park. They bounce ideas off us, ask us to transmit to our friends and neighbors the ideas and give them feedback. So we get quite involved with the park administration. And the committee was formed 93 years ago. I haven't been with them that long, though. I've been with them about 13, 14 years. So it's been a while, through several administrations. But next year, we were advised that 2 years ago, the next year is the centennial of Point Pelee National Park. It will be 100 years old on May 29th. So we started planning rather excitedly some events that we could do to celebrate, and there will be a whole year's worth of events. And if you want, I can give you a listing of what's in the works right now. But what the advisory committee and what I particularly am working on, excuse me, are 3 events. Excuse me, and I should mention that the federal government is not coming up with any extra money for the centennial. So we have to, whatever we do, we have to fund ourselves. And what the advisory committee does, we have to raise the funds for it. 2 years ago, we started meeting with the Windsor Symphony because we thought it'd be wonderful if the symphony actually came and did a special concert for the centennial. And we had an absolutely wonderful meeting with Sheila and Maestro Robert Franz. And Maestro Franz came up with the idea of an original composition for Point Pelee National Park. And, well, I'm sure everybody knows what an asset Point Pelee National Park is to Leamington and the surrounding community. Well, we all got very excited about that because it sounded like a fabulous idea, a composition that just breathes the park, and also that could, down the road, be made into a recording that could become a fundraiser for the park. So those are the ideas. So the cost of actually composing, well, I'm going to let Sheila talk about those particulars, but the cost of actually composing is $10,000, but we're requesting $5,000, and I'll let Sheila take it from here.
Thank you very much, Dort, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, my apologies on behalf of Maestro Franz. He's doing school visits this morning, or he would be here to talk about this exciting composition himself. When we spoke with Dort and Robert came up with the idea, we thought immediately of Jeff Smallman as the composer for this. Jeff Smallman lives in London, Ontario. He has done a composition for us before that was absolutely wonderful. His style is romantic, it's accessible, and he is from Brantford, lives in London, knows Point Pelee very well, and so would be very sensitive to the area and be able to do a wonderful composition. We think that a permanent piece of music that celebrates the park, and if you think of the park, one of the most important things about it is the birdsong of the park. And so this composition will reflect the birdsong of the park. It will do it in a way that is accessible, and it will be a permanent memento that the park has, and also one that actually can be used as a marketing tool for the park, for the region. We are looking at doing a recording of this whole presentation this whole concert that we'll do in the spring. Even if we can't do it at that time, we don't have the funds, we would like to do it at a later date. We think it's a very exciting thing to do. And Point Pelee is one of the smallest parks in all of Canada. It's almost the little engine that could in terms of its biodiversity. We want to celebrate that. We want to draw attention to our region of, when people think of national parks, they do not think of Essex County, if we're honest about it. But we do have an amazing national park, and if there's some way that we can contribute to the recognition of that and the celebration of 100 years of a national park in our area, we would like to do that. And we're very appreciative to the advisory committee for having approached us. And thank you for your consideration of this request.
Thank you very much. Questions from council? None? Ooh, getting off easy. Thank you very much for your presentation. Next up is the South Essex Arts Association.
Morning, Mayor Patterson, members of council, administration. Thank you for having me here today. Penny sends her regrets. Her husband had a medical procedure this morning. So with me is Derek Friesen from our board of directors. So most of you are familiar very well with the Arts Center. We've become, very close partners with the municipality over the years. And with your increased funding, we've really grown, which is what brings me to part of my presentation today is about some of the highlights of what we've done over this past year. Most of you know that we've won awards. We've anywhere from 4 to 6 grants per year we usually achieve. But I have a few benefits to list, just because maybe you're not fully aware of all that we do. We're open 5 days a week to the community, 6 days in the summer. We're a tourist attraction. We see over 5,000 people per year. It's hard to track sometimes because sometimes we have different meetings or receptions that could bring in over 100 people at a time. We have strong local support with over 100 paying members. These are people that donate money out of their own pocket, anywhere from $25 upwards to $1,000. We have many participating active artists from all over the region. We have artists that come down from London to submit to our shows. Right now we're working on the amateur photo contest. We're over 200 entries. Last year we had 240 entries. Our juried student art show, which is open to all the Essex County high schools. Last year we had over 240 entries for that exhibit. Just last month we had our Far Out show. We had over 94 entries from all of the community for that. So a lot of our group shows are really getting big. We're fully utilizing all the space at the gallery. We have over 400 subscribers to our e-blast, over 1,700 Facebook followers, and attendance to our opening receptions, like I said, exceed 100 sometimes. There's always free gallery admission and free admission to most of our events, such as Arts Arena, which is one of the only arts festivals that is still free admission in this area. Many artist receptions are always free. Workshops, culture crawls, our Christmas artist market, which is on now. We do over 40 exhibitions per year too, which, to put that in perspective, most galleries in this region, say the Archive of Windsor, things like that, will do maybe 12 or 15 per year. These are the season or quarterly rotation. We do monthly exhibits, and recently attended a regional art galleries meeting in Woodstock with over a dozen other gallery directors, and they're really amazed by what we do and all the community activities we provide for the community. So with that too, we also do about 1 or 2 different events per month on top of all these exhibits. And again, many of our exhibits are community related, not just solo artists or more professional artists. We have, like I mentioned, our Jury Student Art Show, our Members Show, Breaking Barriers Show, Build Show. There's usually about 9 to a dozen group shows where anyone can enter, not just artists, but can be someone who's entered for their very first time ever. So our emphasis is on local artists and artisans and emerging artists too. We've also worked with a lot of local businesses to sponsor a lot of our exhibits, such as the Rotary Club, Speed Print. Any given year, we'll have probably a half a dozen or more local sponsors to try to offset the cost to put on these different exhibits. And we also give prizes. Upcoming this year, we have the WFC, which is sponsoring a painting competition, and they'll be donating $1,500 to that exhibit. We'll have the Jurd Student Art Show again with the Rotary Club, as I mentioned, sponsors, which has grown significantly over the years. We also have a affordable community meeting space where we hold meetings, seminars, presentations for the community. Groups like Elder College or Sylvan Learning, other private groups, one-off meetings, even banks like Libro community credit unions have contacted us to utilize the space too. So it really is accessible to everyone for a variety of functions, not just art purposes. We also host a lot of community events too, such as bridal showers, baby showers, anniversaries, book launches, CD releases. We also have the gift shop, as you know, which features over 100 local artists just in that area alone. We also offer many children art classes. And in the new year, we're starting a new program called MESH, which is Artist Networks meetings, which anyone can attend just to kind of network, get to know about the arts. We'll have different guest speakers at those meetings. Our first one is going to be the Vanguard Group from the University of Windsor. Now, new for 2017, last year, Council had a few recommendations for us. So we took those in consideration. So we extended our gallery hours by 3 hours per week. And we extended our summer hours an additional 12 and a half hours above our regular hours. So during the summer, we were open 50 hours per week to the public. We also hired a collections assistant for a period of 3, almost 4 months, who accessioned, conditioned, and photographed and reorganized the collections. This includes the municipality's Henry collection as well. And they added acid-free buffers, other safeguards and practices for safe keeping of the artwork. In total, she accessioned 134 works that belong to the LEC in our collection and nearly 300 from the municipality's collection. All the information recorded on spreadsheets, and we're in the process of entering the data into our collections management database, which we purchased for this task. Over the past years, I've been also working on my ISA and USPAP accreditation from the International Society of Appraisers. I have my final practice exam on Monday, so I'll be the only ISA member in this region from here to London. So I'll be qualified to appraise artwork for the purpose of donations with Revenue Canada, or for insurance purposes, estates, amongst various other intended uses. We also hired a professional accounting firm to do our notice to reader annually, as well as our charity report. In 2018, we'll be opening a new community gallery on the second floor. With help from the municipality, we're able to repair the drywall and paint, and then the municipality, or the art center, invests about $2,000 to the hanging system, where we hang the artwork because we don't put any nails on the walls. And we're just putting a few finishing touches, such as window coverings, things like that now. So in the new year, we'll be opening the space and doing a media announcement about that new space on the second floor, which replaces where the Erie Quest Shipwreck Museum was. Also, through local sponsorships with the counter effects, we're able to add the kitchen to the second floor so we can host larger events such as the March Masquerade, things like that. We're looking for a sponsor for the appliances right now. And the municipality, again, invested some money into electrical and plumbing in that area as well. So the reasons for our request, if you notice, we had asked for $50,000. And the main reason is because we are getting so busy. That's a lot for mostly me. I work 30 office hours per week in addition to the extra events and meetings. We have a part-time assistant, Sophie, who works an average of 10 to 12 hours per week. But anymore, we need at least 2 people at the gallery at all times because we're getting phone calls, I'm in meetings, we have people picking up artwork, dropping off artwork, purchasing, booking events, and things like that. So also with the increase in minimum wage that'll be happening in January, it's going to also cost us more to provide these extra human resources. Additionally, there's a few municipal policies that will be affecting us, such as the alcohol risk management policy for hosting events like our artist receptions. So we're required to have more staff and at present at various times for different events, being that we're in a municipal building. So it's going to cost us extra dollars to follow these policies. In summary, the LAC is a bright spot for the Uptown. The LAC has services we provide are an asset. The LAC has 45 years of proven history of success with many ties to partnerships in both the private and public sectors. The LAC is a strong community resource for arts and culture and recognized through the region. The LAC also aids municipality fulfill a cultural mandate by providing activities for residents to participate and enjoy in. With your continued contribution, the LAC and our dedicated staff, board, and volunteers will continue to make all of the above happen. A community grant for the LAC is a great investment for the municipality. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay,
Any questions?
Thanks very much. Questions? Councillor Hammond?
Your worship, thank you. Chad, a lot of times we don't get an opportunity to say thank you and to compliment people on the jobs that they do. And obviously, by going through what you've already accomplished so far last year and what your intentions are this year, and for all of us that have attended your buildings and some of your events, a job well done, and thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck on your exam.
Thank you.
No other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ken.
Okay. Next group up, Sun Parlor Folk Fest, Music Society.
Good morning. Thanks for having us here today. We have John and Michelle Law and our friend Dale Butler, who we invited just as Dale's also a proponent of the arts throughout the region. So we've done a few projects together, and he's been a volunteer for the festival since we started. Thank you, Dale. On behalf of the Sun Parlor Folk Music Society Board of Directors, we would like to thank the Municipality of Leamington most sincerely for believing in the vision and supporting the Kingsville Folk Music Festival since its inception in 2014. It's hard to believe that we're celebrating year 5 next year. Together, we continue to put southwestern Ontario on the map as a cultural destination. Partnerships with the Municipality of Leamington, the Bank Theatre, Sip and Savor, Hogs for Hospice, and other area events and organizations allow us all to broaden our reach and increase attendance. Shared advertising and group purchase of site expenses are a few examples of our partnerships. It amazes us each year when we calculate the economic impact and look at spending required to make this event happen. On-site survey results for 2017, 37% of regional visitors were Leamington residents, with 42% of them from Kingsville. 30% of out-of-town guests stayed in hotels and motels. Average visitor length of stay is 3 nights. Since 2014, the Kingsville Folk Music Festival spent over $78,000 in the Municipality of Leamington alone to produce this event. Purchases have been for hotel rooms, marketing, advertising, and site expenses at an average of just under $20,000 a year. In addition, tourism industry economic impact reports over $350,000 visitor spending each year throughout the weekend. And we're just getting started. While we're still seeing attendance numbers of less than 2,000 per day, we have over a 90% return rate. We continue to market outside of our 40-kilometer and 100-kilometer region to entice visitors, and we're growing partnerships throughout the area to draw from our local population. We continue to celebrate family with more activities and experiences for children and young families. The Board of Directors have made changes to ticket pricing, and we'll be introducing family camping close to the festival site next year. The May Fund has presented 5 scholarships to area high school students, and the festival has been nominated twice as Tourism Event of the Year by the Ontario Tourism Industry Association. And I have to say, when we go to the awards show, people ask us where Kingsville is, and we say it's beside Leamington. And they know where we're talking about. 2-time recipient of Celebrate Ontario grants and multi-year commitments from Ontario and Canadian arts organizations confirm that we're a sustainable arts organization making an impact. Retirees from Toronto and area have chosen Leamington as their retirement destination based on the proximity of the festival and affordability of housing. The festival plays an important role in developing, lifting, and showcasing arts in the region. We respectfully request the Municipality of Leamington approve our grant for financial support to the 2018 Kingsville Folk Music Festival in the form of a stage sponsorship. The municipality logo will be included as a top-tier sponsor in all marketing materials, advertising campaigns both local and outside of the area, high-profile signage, and banner space on site. Municipality will continue to be recognized as a key supporter of arts in the region. Thank you again for your support and participation, because we couldn't do this without you.
Okay, thanks. Questions from council? Councillor Jacobs?
Thank you, Worship. Michelle, I'm going to sound like a broken record to you again, because I think since 2014, when you first brought this program forward, we discussed, I believe at that time, about the event being maybe partnered with Leamington at the Seacliff Park. And I know last year we went at it again with the new amphitheater coming up, but it wasn't quite complete at that point in time. Now that we have the amphitheater, and I guess a great venue for the type of show you're putting on, is there any consideration that you would be, I guess, I don't know what's a polite way to put this.
I know what you're saying,
Take it from one
John.
to put to the other, but
It's something we talk about all the time. You know, the limitations for us are finances and people, bodies. I mean, it's John and I and a small board of directors. We have over 200 volunteers, but of those volunteers, there's like a handful that want to get involved throughout the year. So for us, it's just a matter of how the heck could we pull something like that off on the same weekend. But another day, like we've talked, we're always coming up with ideas in the shower separately, but apparently we have the same thinking process.
Judy doesn't find
We're
out.
like, I mean, yeah, so, you know, we'll find a shower with enough room for everyone. We call our hot tub the boardroom. Something we're talking about is maybe a concert at the park, at the new theater, as a joint fundraising campaign for the festival and for the Bank Theater. So we're trying to do things like that. We're trying to figure out how we could make it happen the same weekend, but yeah, I don't know. And then we talked to Peter last year at Sip and Savor, and I think you were still just putting together procedures and policies for renting and having the space available. So we would love to talk further. And I'm not sure if that is done yet or not. So.
And the reason I'm asking is that, you know, it's been a great success, and I think Leamington has benefit from this, but I guess where I'm going with the fact is that now that we have this facility here, that, you know, as a member of council, and I think, you know, we want to promote that. It's a great venue. I'm sure you've seen it, and, you know, the viewing area alone with the hill and so forth has just been fantastic. And, you know, I guess I'm looking at, you know, maybe we should be focusing on what we can do for Leamington directly, you know, with that venue. So hopefully you'll give us some more consideration anyway. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, well, you know what? The consideration is always there. It's just needing a helping hand. That's all. Like, we're available to meet with anyone at any time to talk about any ideas and try and make something work.
Okay, Councillor
Thank
Dunn?
you.
Through your worship, you mentioned about ticket price, and you were revisiting the ticket price. Did you mention what you were thinking, like, as in price?
We've had way too many levels of tickets. We have an early bird, then we had a regular adult, then we had a senior and student pass, then we had single day passes and evening passes. So what we're doing now, we have one early bird price, then there'll be, the early birds are on sale now until June 1st. After that time, there's one adult senior student price for the weekend, and there'll be one day price for single day. So it'll be $75 early bird ticket price, $80 early bird ticket price, $95 regular, and $40 single day price. So we're just, we learn every year. We based our prices on other festivals and tried to be lower than other festivals in Ontario. Not everything works in other folk festivals, but we see what works for us and get feedback from our communities too. So, yeah, thanks.
Excellent. Okay. I don't see any other questions from council. No, we're all good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next one is Sun Parlor Players Community Theater.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson, Deputy Mayor Hilda McDonald, and best roommate ever, counselors.
Wow, showers and
Sorry.
roommates.
Thank you for the opportunity to present our grant application. As you all know, 2017 has been a very busy year for us at the Bank Theatre. We are in the middle of getting ready for our big renovation, we hope, with the grant opportunity that you have presented the municipality, the people of the municipality with. We hope that we're able to actually continue renovating and just finish the space so that when it reopens, we're ready to go with a beautiful space that's comfortable to sit in, great sound, great rooms for the performers to hang out in, just the perfect, most southerly, dedicated theater space in Canada. That's our hope. We're so lucky to be living in this community with all these, well, there's only a few left, but all these wonderful organizations. How many communities can say that they have so many volunteers of all different aspects? You know, most millionaires per capita in Wheatley. I don't know if that's still true, but I think we have the most volunteers per capita in Leamington. We're really blessed. We've performed many events in the last year. We partnered with some Windsor groups. We did Into the Woods. We presented our own production this year, Lend Me a Tenor, which was a wonderful comedy. We had someone from Sussex, England, Red Dirt Skinners, and we were really lucky to have Sean McCann, who used to be with the Great Big Sea, who hopes that he can come back to Leamington. So we're in negotiations with him to have that happen maybe next year. We also always have Dale's Coffee House monthly, and we just take a summer hiatus. So we're always bringing great entertainment, and we have one wonderful local legend that performs once a year. We hope he will perform again.
I knew that was coming.
Sorry, John. Anyway, we have a couple upcoming events. This weekend, we have Mary Newland and her husband Richard, along with Chrissy Cochran and soul brother Mike, performing under the mistletoe at our off-site location, Knox Presbyterian Church, sorry. And we also have a children's production. We've been working with the Faith Mennonite Church the last couple years. Barry Bergen has been bringing original children's productions, musical. So that will happen this year also at the Faith Mennonite Church. So there's different things for different people this weekend. You can see the details to that on our webpage. With us closing for renovations, 2018 will be a challenge as far as bringing entertainment to our community. We will be working off-site. We will continue with the Coffee House monthly. Windsor Symphony Orchestra is doing a neighborhood concert series in the spring, and we're looking at bringing a fun production called Love, Sex, and the IRS in the springtime, and that's our own production this year. We hope to continue bringing more entertainment. We're just finalizing some details on that. We've been working with some amazing media partners, South Point Sun, Blackburn Radio. We're just signing up with Imagine Cinema, and we've been working with Your TV to make our reach further. We're bringing more people back into the Leamington community to see some of our productions, so that's great. 2018 will be a great year of growth for our theater community, and we look forward to what we will bring. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm only a legend in my own mind, so.
No.
Questions from council? Councillor Hammond?
Your Worship, thank you. And Ursula, I'm going to put you on the spot a bit. We all know what the Bank Theater has done and what we hope that it'll continue to do. But there was a request here from the Little Tomato Children's Theater, and there's nobody here to represent them. Prior to us getting into deliberations about the grant request, can you give us a bit of, can you explain the difference between what the Bank Theater does and the Little Tomato, so we have a better understanding? I should have given you a heads up prior to this, but.
Thanks, John. Well, so the Bank Theater is a dedicated space. We aren't, we bring different productions to different groups. Little Tomatoes, and I used to be involved with Little Tomatoes as well. It's a great group. They are a children's theater that really don't have a home. The beauty of the children's theater, though, is they have 100 performers usually. So 100 performers can bring up to 500, 600 guests to each one of their performances. You know, yeah, they're both great in my eyes.
Any other questions from council? I hope the fundraising goes as well as I'm understanding it's going, and that it gets done really, really quick so you can get back in there and occupy that facility that way I know you want to. So congratulations on the years that all of you have put in in that effort. So
Thank you very much.
anyway, thank you very much for your presentation. United Way Centraid, Windsor, Essex County.
Good morning, Mayor Patterson, Deputy Mayor McDonald, Mr. Neufeld, and councillors. I'm very excited to present today just to show our appreciation of past support of the On Track to Success program, but also to provide you with a brief update as to where we are at in terms of our programming. So we're now going into our third year of being in Leamington and our second year in Windsor. And what we found is that we've done a very good job of engaging young people here in the community in being a little bit more focused in terms of prioritizing their education. And our goal is, as you know, is to improve high school graduation rates amongst low-income youth in our community. But we also want to increase the post-secondary enrollment of those students as well. So what we found by looking at Government of Ontario data is that your income really does determine if you're going to participate in post-secondary education. So if you notice by this chart here, Ontario does much better than the rest of Canada in terms of post-secondary participation. But if you look at a student whose family income is roughly around $30,000 annually, they only have a 38% likelihood of participating in post-secondary. If that family income increases to $110,000, that student would have a 63% likelihood of participating. So that's really where our program comes in, is that we really want to improve that gap, and we're hoping that our numbers seek that these students actually do participate at the same rates of those with a higher income, family household income. So we have some really great success from the last year. There's currently 70 students in total enrolled in our program, 96% retention rate. So those who started our program in grade 9 are actually still enrolled and still engaged in our program, which is much higher than similar youth-based interventions in other communities. 81% of the students have achieved the academic expectations. So we require that the students get a 65% average in grades 9 and 10 in order to keep their scholarship with our program, and 70% in grades 11 and 12. So we're really proud of their academic achievement. We've also noticed, obviously, improved school attendance and behavior as well, which is a major, school attendance was a major issue for majority of our students, so we really focus on that as an outcome as well. Our program is actually being evaluated through the Government of Ontario, through their local poverty reduction fund. And we've worked with Dr. Rajiva Sinha, who's a professor at the Odette School of Business, to really investigate if our program is working in terms of meeting those measurable outcomes. And we're actually really happy to announce that the preliminary results will be available this summer, August 2018. But we've also just secured some additional funding from the government. What we're going to look at is to see if we can increase the post-secondary retention rate of our students who live in low income, because we know that if they're a first-generation attendee to college or to university, they're even more likely to drop out of that as well. So we're going to be following them a little bit longer, these students that we're supporting, and we're also going to provide the support for that a little bit longer as well. So it should be really interesting to see if we're able to help support the student through college and university as well. So we've had some really great experiences this past year. Many of our students work with what's called our Women Leading the Way committee, which is quite a number of female leaders in our community that help work with the students and provide them with mentoring opportunities. We also got to meet with the Minister of Education, Mitzi Hunter. She came down in the summer and really wanted to learn a little bit more about our program and what we were doing here in Leamington. And finally, I'd like to thank Deputy Mayor McDonald for joining us at our first event, the Battle of the Growers. It was a great event. We actually raised $25,000 from that event. But the winners were Sprucewood Winery, Highline Mushroom, and Smashed Apple Catering. So it was a really great pairing where you get an appetizer, a wine sampling, and as you can see from the picture, I think the judges had a lot of fun too. So our grant request today is again for the in-kind donation of space at the Leamington Kinsman Recreation Complex. We have a variety of programming that we offer. One I wanted to focus on is just a new one. It's called The Mask You Live In. It's really working with the young boys in our program to deal with issues such as bullying, self-esteem, but also how to respect yourselves and respect others, and to not use physical violence or physical altercation. So we're really finding, again, that was an issue that we were seeing presenting, so we wanted to address that and provide that with more support. So we just started that this past fall, and it's actually been very successful in providing some more support for the young men in our program too. So again, thank you for your past support. Again, this grant is really important to saving costs on using space, but also, again, just providing a nice safe space for youth in our community to meet. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from council? I see none. So you're getting off
Thank
easy
you.
too. Thank you very much. And our final presentation for this section of the budget is the Windsor Symphony Orchestra.
Good morning again. With me this morning is Giancarlo Manconi, who is our Manager of Marketing, Communications, and Sales for the Windsor Symphony Orchestra. One of the advantages of being the last presenter is that you actually have the opportunity to see the breadth and depth of what happens in this community and see the work that groups do, that volunteers do, and also the leadership that this town has provided enabling those volunteers and those groups to do the wonderful work. So I just have to say kudos to all the folks who have come before us and to the town for the support that you have given to those organizations to facilitate that and make it possible. And as the Windsor Symphony Orchestra is one of those groups that has had your support, we want to add our name to the list that are thanking you for what you do and what you make possible in this community. We're here this morning to ask you to support bringing live music performance to Leamington again in 2018. Our request specifically is for 3 concerts in the spring of this year, as well as a summer concert. As you know, as we've discussed before, ticket prices cover approximately 1/3 of what it costs for professional symphony orchestras to put on their productions. That's standard in the field. And so the support from the town will help cover the costs of rehearsals, our hall rental, transportation out here. Just last weekend, we were performing the Messiah at the Leamington United Mennonite Church, so that meant that We had 70 volunteer singers who came out here. We had an entire cast of musicians who had to rehearse. They needed their music stands. A harpsichord had to come to Leamington. It had to be tuned. So all of these things had to happen, and that's what your support helps finance. In terms of the venues that we perform in, our primary venue is the Leamington United Mennonite Church, but we've also had the honor of performing at your new waterfront park, and that's been delightful in the summer. It's just an absolutely exquisite place, and kudos again for what you've done there. We are in discussions, as you heard, with the Bank Theatre. We're very excited about the changes that are happening there and the work that they have been doing, and to be able to perform in different venues in this community. In terms of our links with the community, first of all, although we're called the Windsor Symphony Orchestra, we're called that because we started 70 years ago in 1947 in Windsor, but for a long time we have been a regional orchestra. We see our mission, the board sees its mission as serving the region, and so that includes all of Essex County, and we're now performing sometimes in Chatham-Kent as well. We have links with the community in terms of the performances that we take into the retirement homes. We go into schools and do maestro visits. We have performed at the Leamington Arts Center. We work with groups like Music Moves Kids under the leadership of Aaron Armstrong. And most recently, we've entered into discussions with the Mexican consulate and making a connection with the youth orchestra in Celaya, Mexico. And those are in preliminary stages right now, but I really hope that we have a wonderful announcement to bring you later on about that. We've also, United Way just made a presentation, and we are collecting food, non-perishable, that's an oxymoron, non-perishable food items, but anyhow, after-school snacks for kids in support of the after-school programs of United Way, and that's what we're trying to do to support their efforts in terms of helping kids actually find their place and do what they can in life. That's our presentation this morning. I just wanted to thank you on behalf of the board, the orchestra, for your support and for the opportunity to even come forward and ask for your support in 2018, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hammond.
Your Worship, thank you. Sheila, you'd touched on 3 or 4 different presentations you're going to put on in the Leamington next year, and especially the Bank Theatre, and when that building is complete, that'll be a great venue. Have you been able to identify any other locations? Because primarily I'm thinking about our new amphitheater, as you know.
The Bank Theatre is one. We've been looking at other venues. We're going to have one presentation at the new visitors, well, I don't know if it's called a visitor center, but the new building that's being constructed at Point Peely, and so that will be where we'll be in April. Bank Theatre is another. Leamington United Mennonite Church may be another. We're talking to the Roma Club about going back there. So there are a number of things at play right now, and all of them haven't been finalized.
And I understand it'll take some time to do that. I think it would be just a great venue to have it at our new amphitheater. I mean, the sound system, if you've never been there, the sound system is tremendous, and
you have a very good chief administrative officer who has made certain that we have seen your amphitheater, had a personal tour of your amphitheater, and we are now in discussions about ways that we might be able to work together to make something happen there. We're just really excited. It's absolutely beautiful, and yes, you're to be commended at the thought that was put into that design.
I summarized that, but I just thought it'd be nice to get it out here in the public. Thank you.
All right. No other questions from council?
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the presentations for grant requests. And as I mentioned earlier, the grant requests we will discuss at the end of the budget, so we know how much money we can have left over. And so for this moment right now, thank you to those who are still here, who have come to do the presentations, all that did the presentations. And we're going to take a 10-minute break. I need a motion, sorry. Verbicki and Jacobs, all in favor and carried. Yeah.